This is Pharaoh's Visor of dsdatabase.org, and I'm going to do a bit of a comparison between the two Amazon covers. First, we have the leather lighted cover as well as the regular leather cover. It seems that Amazon's only two options are both leather, so there's no cheaper option. The regular version, or more commonly known as the non-lighted cover, is $35, $34.99, and the lighted cover is $60. So they're quite hefty and actually cost a significant fraction of the actual Kindle. So I have here with me my Amazon Kindle 3G, and you can see that it's a very, very thin device. It's very, very light. So ideally you want a cover to protect it, but you also want it to be nice and light. So the problem I found with the more expensive lighted cover is that it's relatively heavy. It's almost the same weight as the actual Kindle itself. So when you're actually using it, it feels like you've doubled the weight. Now, the regular cover without the light at the back actually feels quite light. It actually adds quite a bit of weight to the Amazon as well, but it's not nearly as bad as the lighted cover. So if we look at the differences between the regular cover and the lighted cover, you'll see that, well, here is the regular cover. It's just, I believe they have a cardboard backing in the middle. There's, of course, the leather. There's this string to keep the cover closed. There's also this sort of felt lining. It's quite nice, and you can brush dust off of it pretty easily. There's also this strip here. This is these are the hooks that attach to the Kindle. So how it works is you simply line up the holes here and here, and you just slide it right in. This is a little curved, so you'd have to slide it in first. You pull this down, and you just let it slide right in. So it's attached pretty nicely, and one thing you want to be sure you don't do is lift from here, because it'll just crack your Kindle in half. So I suppose that's why the wire is attached, so you don't have your device flipping open. Now, one of the things that the covers claim to do is fold back so you can read it just like this. I've actually used this regular cover for far longer than my lighted cover, since I didn't have the money to get the lighted cover early on. When I first got it, it was very stiff. You'd open it like this, and it'd stop. You can't move it any further. You actually have to crease it over, and you'll see that there are crease lines here. Let's see, I think if I fold it back and forth, you can sort of see it. There's a line right here, so like a vein. And similarly, if I leave it half open, you can sort of see wrinkles. Apparently it's meant to do that. So I have my newer lighted cover. I didn't fold it back so that I could do this video. You can see that it's very stiff. You can't bend it any further unless you start making those creases. So again, it is, you can fold it backwards on top of itself, and it'll give you a nice single pad to read through. one of the things I hate about these new covers is the string. I can see how some people would like it, but I just find it not as convenient. So it is fold backable, but if you check this out, it still has some resistance, which I guess is the second function of the string, where you can fold it on top of itself and now it behaves nice and stiff. The string, of course, has the Amazon logo right here, Amazon Kindle, and this cover is quite nice, but do I really think it's worth $35? Probably not. It's probably the logo that's costing you most of the money. So in comparison, you can see that the lighted cover has a slightly different design. I like this thinner look on the side than this fat one. As you can see, this is how I look. I believe the reason we have a fatter opening here is because of the light over here. So how this works is you can just pull it out and the light would turn on if your Kindle was connected. This means that you can read at night or whatever. How this works, there's no battery slot or anything. It draws power directly from your Kindle with these two metal hooks. As you can see, these are metal hooks instead of the plastic ones offered in the cheaper version. So once again, the mechanism is much the same. You just slide it in. And I found that the sliding mechanism here is a lot smoother, but I believe that's just batch-to-batch variation. So my complaint about this case is that it's a lot heavier. It feels a little thicker, and the back over here clearly has some sort of device here, so it's part of the light, obviously, and the problem is it's not a perfectly flat surface, or rather it is a flat surface, but there's some very minor lumps that you can feel if you're paying attention. Now the light pulls out, it's not easy to pull out unless you have a good grip here, and because the Kindle is here, it's hard to get a good grip. The light, you can't reposition it, so it is stuck like this, and it only turns on when your device is on, so that's definitely a plus. The light spread hits this corner brighter, obviously, and I've seen a few complaints, but if we turn off the light here, you can see that it covers the device pretty well. This camera is not really doing the device justice, since I'm pretty sure this part is whited out, but it actually looks very, very good. The spread isn't as uneven as some pictures make it out to be, and it's not so bright that, in fact, it's actually pretty good. It's not dim so that you can't read, and it's not bright enough so that it would bother other people or create any glare. So if you look here, there's very little glare. I know that e-ink claims that there's no glare at all, but if you have direct light shining at it, there will be a little bit of glare, sort of like glossy magazines. But again, this light is positioned pretty much perfectly, which is why they don't let you move it around, and the brightness is just perfect. So you can see that it's a well-designed device, and carrying extra weight isn't as bad, since it does serve a very good function. Now, what do I think? Do I think this is worth 60 bucks? Definitely not. If I'm gonna buy a $150 device, I am not likely to spend $60 on a case for it. if this price was a little lower, I would think it's an excellent case. I would think that this should have been priced at $35 and this shouldn't have been made at all. That being said, there are definitely people out there that would buy the cases. I bought the cases. The cheaper non-lighted cover is pretty good value. Unfortunately, I know that they aren't quite for sale anymore, so you'll have to be hunting eBay or other stores for it. This one is lighter, it's nice and cheap. I think this will serve as a basic case that works. If you do read a lot at night, which I happen to do, the light is a very big bonus. Even though it does double the weight of the Kindle is light enough as is. So it's not a big deal, in my opinion. The light definitely more than makes up for it. It's a very cool concept. But if I were to do this all over again, I would have just stuck with the Kindle. The Kindle is not a device that you're likely to resell over and over. It's very thin, so the case is the case thickening it and making it heavier sort of defeats the purpose. It has a pretty sturdy front and a rubberized back that doesn't scratch like Apple products, so the need to protect it isn't as dire. It's a cheap device and it's only getting cheaper. It doesn't damage easily, and the cases are ridiculously expensive when you think about the cost ratios. So why would you get a case? I guess it looks pretty sleek, and the lighted cover is definitely an interesting concept. But if I had a night light, a bedtime or a bedside light, a lamp or something, that defeats the purpose. The device doesn't really need any protection, and there are lots of third-party cases that are going on sale for $10 or maybe even less, making these seem ridiculously expensive. So there are definitely pros and cons to both leather cases, but I would probably buy the Kindle alone and perhaps save your $60 for another Kindle if you do happen to break it. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.